He's on, isn't, she said he
Greg's
just,
online, but I'm saying he has announcement. So Chase, you'll have to grab Greg's announcement.
you can get,
Yes.
she's coming.
I don't have it.
So
Chase.
You had one.
I didn't have it.
It's
Oh,
weird
sure.
not having the
Items,
the divider. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Special. Thanks, Chase.
which one was that?
I've got to get new glasses. I don't see out of these anymore.
Trudy's got it too. One's like Trudy, my daughter.
Take your time. Thank you. Are we ready now? Okay. I'd like to call the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education meeting for June 30th, 2023 to order. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick,
Here.
Mr. Claus,
Here.
Mrs. McConnell,
Present.
Mr. Murphy,
Here.
Dr. Ranking,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
President Ross.
Here.
We have 7 present.
Thank you. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have come to the time for presentation by audience. Are there any, did we have any cards? We had no, no presentations by audience, so we'll move right on. No response to any audience presentations. With information items, proposed expenditures under $2,500. Any questions of Mr. Willis? Seeing none. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Vice President.
Thank you, President Ross. Consent agenda. Number 1, payment of bills. Number 2, payment for travel. Number 3, human resources report. Number 4, readoption of existing hazardous boundaries. Number 5, interim payments. Number 6, resolution approving the Illinois School District Liquid Asset Fund. Number 7, resolution authorizing interfund transfers and loan and authority to invest funds. Number 8, tax deductions. Number 9, resolution designating depositories. Number 10, resolution approving treasurer's bond. Number 11, prevailing wage. Number 12, award of fuel bid for district school buses/vehicles. Number 13, Valeska Hinton HVAC project. Number 15, approval for sale of surplus property. And number 15, settlement agreement and general release of claims. That is the end of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any board member would like to pull for a separate vote? Okay, seeing none. May I have a motion?
Second.
Moved in second. Are there any concerns or questions on these consent agenda? I have one question on number 12, the fuel bid. Is that the fuel bid? Yeah, the fuel bid. Mr. Willis, were you part of that bid?
Yes.
Okay, but that wasn't a bid that our secretary is supposed to sit in on all bids, but she didn't remember sitting in on that one.
That particular one, I think, I believe Josh set that schedule, and when he walked in the building, he wound up nabbing me. We did sit down, we did talk about it, and kind of work through all the numbers. And I don't remember when we set that up, if she was on the invite or not, because sometimes she had scheduling conflicts, and I just don't remember if I may not have mentioned to Mr. Collins to invite her to that. So I'd have to double check that.
So was this seems like the same people. Did we get other bids on that?
We did get one other bid on it. We got 2 bids on it. We usually get 2, sometimes 3, but mostly just 2 bids on it. And we got 2 bids this year.
Okay, so I would like to make sure that the policy is the policy is that the board president, secretary is part of that bidding process.
Yeah, and we do that. Yes, we'll make sure that we continue to work towards that.
And apropos to that, the Valeska Hinton Center HVAC project, were there bids on that?
There were 1, 2. Yes, the short answer is yes. I believe there were 3 or 4 companies who bid on that, and it's typically the companies that typically bid. The one recommended, Warner, was has done work for us before on a couple of HVAC projects. I think they've done 2 HVAC projects with us before. I think Lindbergh was one of the projects. I can't remember what other site, but I know they've done at least 2 with us before.
I just wanted to be sure that the bids are, are public and that
Sure.
kind of thing. So, but I noticed they're already working on they're already working at Valeska, so I guess they're doing like a roof or something on there.
Yeah, we did roofing bids with Valeska a couple of board meetings ago. And so the work that's occurring at Valeska is roofing work right now. The HVAC work obviously hasn't started because we haven't awarded that contract, et cetera. But roofing is occurring at Valeska Hinton, yes.
Any other questions on any of the consent agenda items? It is in here, in the consent agenda. If you'd like to pull it in.
Number 3.
Number 3.
It's number 3.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions.
Okay, you can ask those now.
Okay, so on the HR, I just was looking at,
Your mic's not on.
sorry, on the HR, there were some resignations that stated that the end of the grant program ended. So,
Right here.
so then how do we manage that if the grant ends? Do we find other placement, or how does that work?
The employee is advised at the very beginning that there's a time frame
Okay.
for that, and they just know to start looking for other opportunities within the district.
Okay, all right. And then lastly, for HR, did we get some satisfactory movement on the, what were they called? The,
Parent
Parent.
advocates.
yeah, did we get some movement on the parent advocate roles? did we get enough staff circling back so that when we start our new year in about a month, that we are staffed sufficiently and that the principals are pleased as well?
That process is still ongoing right now in terms of, yeah.
Okay.
But what you're referring to, we have been told that those parent advocates were going to now become APs. I mean, not APs, but teacher aides, TAs. And they were going through some process to become TAs, and I'm wondering where that process is.
Right, if they would like to, so the information was shared, if you would like to, just information and things of that nature. So between now and the start of school, we should be able to get feedback from those that are interested and those who have moved on to other jobs or whatever, or found other jobs in the district.
But you
Okay.
also said that, sorry, you also said that they could be hired back if that's what the principals wanted, right? That's correct. Some of the-
Some locations,
Yes.
some locations on a case-by-case basis are being allowed to retain, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm just concerned about vacancies, since we already deal with the teacher shortage, and then to have support staff shortage just kind of is a disadvantage, not only for the principal, but the parents and the students and the teachers. And I just know how vital support systems are when you're dealing with certain buildings. And every building needs that, but even more so, there are buildings that need it at a higher level. And I just don't want us to be naive as we approach August, because that's just 4 weeks from now. I don't want us to be vulnerable and compromise our progress. We've made a lot of progress since COVID, because COVID was a big adjustment, not only for teachers, but for families and for students. And what I don't want us to do is to be reactive in a situation that we really could have been a little more proactive with. And I'm all about smooth transitions, and I want us to safeguard that nobody is compromised. But out of everybody at the table, we don't want to compromise our students and our families. That's huge. And so that would parlay into disciplinary issues and a whole lot of areas. And my goal is to see our district be stable. And we can't be stable. We already have a revolving door, but if we can minimize that as much as we can in some areas, I think it's prudent and it's wise for us to do so. Thank you.
I think that we really need to be expedient on if we are going to offer those positions back to the parent advocates, or because of the fact that these people definitely would now be out looking for jobs. And it is, if they really are interested, they need to be contacted as soon as possible, rather than waiting until later, because we could very well lose some very valuable individuals who are very committed if we wait until 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. School starts August the 2nd. I say that we need to move as expedient as possible and get this matter taken care of prior to school starting on August the 2nd. Thank you.
Are there any other comments on any items, 1 through?
Piggyback off that really quick. If we could get an update on how many of the faculty are going to come back in that role of a parent advocate, and then also how many of those have gone back to get certified to come back as a teacher's assistant by our next meeting, just so we kind of have the numbers on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions on any items 1 through 15? See,
Bring your mic a little closer.
I'm sorry.
Bring your mic a little closer.
Oh, you can't hear me? How's that? Is that? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Presentations and suggestions by board members. Dr. Rankin.
Since we didn't have time for announcements, I thought we could do announcements now.
Well, we do.
There's not in the next one either.
It's not in the next.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
So the announcement I have, first, since our last board meeting, I just wanted to make note of, we had another member of our staff pass away. He was the custodian at Reservoir Gifted. He was in the district for a long time, but he was also at Reservoir for quite a long time. So Thomas Sullivan passed away right after he retired. So I wanted to pull that out just for the community to know. And then for my announcement, summer school and summer reading. Thank you to all the teachers and staff who made this year's summer school possible. Students had a remarkable experience with hands-on learning, guest speakers, field trips, and more. For continued summer fun, students can participate in the summer reading program at Peoria Public Library by reading the recommended 30 minutes a day.
Thank you. Ms. Costick, you have one?
Two. Immunizations and physicals reminder. Reminder that immunizations and physicals are due by the first day of school, August the 2nd. If you have an incoming kindergarten, 6th grade, 9th grade, or 12th grade student, make sure to schedule their immunization and physicals now. Back to school. First day of school is Wednesday, August the 2nd. Visit www.peoriapublicschools.org/back-to-school for individual schools' handbooks, supply lists, welcome letters from the principal, uniform color guidelines, bell schedules, and links to submit student immunization and physical paperwork. Thank you.
Okay.
Summer Safe Zones. In partnership with Peoria Public Schools and the Peoria Police Department and the Peoria Park District, we are pleased to bring safe and fun summer events for all families in Peoria. Friday, July at Sterling Middle School, 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, July 11th, Glen Oak Park, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Friday, July 14th at Woodruff Career and Tech Center, 4:30 to 7:30. And Friday, July 28th at Manual High School, 4:30 to 7:30. And I'm assuming that Friday date, it's missing from the announcement at Sterling Middle School. Is that next Friday? Would it be on or this coming Friday?
Should be the 7th.
Okay, so Friday, July 7th at Sterling Middle School, 4:30 to 7:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Klaus?
Independence Day, next Tuesday, July 4th, all schools and offices will be closed in observance of Independence Day.
Okay. Are you falling out of the chair? Go ahead.
There's a new website. Peoria Public School has a new look. Head to peoriapublicschools.org to check out our new website. Be sure to download our app, PPS 150, to stay updated on all the amazing efforts happening across the district.
And the next, sure.
Yeah.
Russ?
Thank you, President Ross. Just thank you, Dr. Rankin, for mentioning Mr. Sullivan. That was actually in my notes. He was scheduled to retire this year, actually, today. And I've known him for many, many years. Just a great guy, an amazing custodian, took pride in all of his buildings. Ms. Hammer, how many years was he? About 30-something? He had about 30-something years, so may his soul rest in peace. And we enjoyed every minute of him while he was with us. So again, thank you, Dr. Rankin, for pointing that out. The board, he was a great employee.
Is that my door? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so those were all of the announcements. And next on the agenda is remarks by board members. Anybody have any remarks? No? And I'd like a motion and a second to adjourn Sandai.
So moved.
Would you call the roll? Will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next agenda item is to, like to call the board meeting to order for June 30th, 2023. And I need a motion to elect a chairman pro tem.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, does somebody want to make a motion?
Second.
Okay. Would you call the roll,
Is
please?
there, this is for what?
Just the
Oh,
process.
I got you.
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson? Mr. Wilson?
Yes, aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Next on the agenda is recognition of elected board member. I don't know who that is.
Well, we have the oath. We have the oath of office for
I know.
you. Yes.
I'm just saying.
So,
I'm trying to
do you
lighten
have
it
the
up a
oath with
little
you?
bit there.
Yeah. Let me see.
Of
Do you have the oath
course.
with you? Okay.
I'm ready.
So let's go ahead and do the oath of office for Martha Ross from District 1.
Thank you. I, Martha Ross, do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Peoria Public Schools in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further affirm that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of school district assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinions by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual, and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decision of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education or Board of Directors, as the case may be, I shall accept responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Peoria Public Schools. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous asset of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as educators' key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision of Peoria Public Schools, and I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision of the board has created. fostering excellence for every student in the area of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. With that, I have a few remarks.
Yep, okay.
But let's see, I wrote them down. Okay, I want to thank my constituents for electing me to the school board for the fourth time, and fourth and final, should I say, time. And I'd also like to say that since I've been on the school board, I've tried to maintain the integrity of the process. As president of the board, I've tried to maintain the integrity of the position, and I hope that we can go forward for the purpose that we are here for, which is to provide quality education for children of Peoria Public Schools. With what's going on in the world, we need to pay more attention, in my opinion, now than ever, preparing our children to go to higher education. It's going to be very hard for some of our students to be accepted into colleges without an affirmative action component, my opinion. Some people think that we need it, but we don't need it. But I can tell you, I feel that you will see the difference. My personal opinion is that this board is responsible for the assets of the district, the taxpayers' dollars, and the children's education. I would also like to say that in my tenure on this board, I along with my colleagues, have promoted both the parent university component. I've addressed the Black history issues and helped to initiate a Black history curriculum along with my colleagues, which is what our children need because they don't know who they are. I also worked with Ms. Kostick over the years. We've hired superintendents. We've changed the names of schools based on a process that was objective, and so that our kids would know, have someone to look up to and know that they can be anything they want to do. I, along with Mr. Shaw, has developed a procurement policy board adopted, which is the first time ever that we have an opportunity for African American contractors to be treated fairly within our system. I have worked also on many, many policy issues, and although they are fluid and always need to be changed, we really need to look at some of our core policies that we are operating under at this time. So I appreciate my constituents for trusting me one more time to represent the children and families and taxpayers of this community. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, I would like to entertain a motion to elect a secretary.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Our secretary, does someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to elect Cami Ross as the secretary of the school board for District Peoria 115.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Any questions or anything? Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Cammie.
Thank-
Yeah.
Would you like to make a statement? Okay. Okay, election, F is the election of officers. Madam Secretary, do you have a nomination for president of Peoria Public Schools Board of Education?
Yes, ma'am, I do. By unanimous vote, we have a president nominated, and that is Mr. Mike Murphy.
Okay.
And by majority of vote, for vice president, we have.
Well, we have to do that second. Okay. So the first one is the president. Are there any nominations from the floor? Seeing none, would you call the roll? Mr. Murphy, would you accept this before we call the roll?
Yes, I do accept.
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Aye. Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Aye. Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Okay. And now, since you've been elected, you will do the vice president.
Okay. We don't have to change seats, do we?
Well, no, we don't have to. There's the
Fine.
available.
All right.
Well, not right now, but I will change seats. Okay.
All right. Madam Secretary, do you have a nomination for the vice president?
Yes, I do. By a majority of the vote, we have Dr. Rankin as vice president.
Wonderful. Were there any other nominations from the floor for vice president? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Will you accept what she is?
Will you
Yes.
accept the
Yes.
position?
Mrs. Costick? Aye. Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, the motion carries.
All right. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have appointment of Assistant Board Secretary and Treasurer for the 2023-2024 school year. Proposed action is that Tracy Jones be appointed Assistant Board Secretary of the Board of Education and that Mick Willis be appointed the Treasurer for the 2023-2024 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you call roll?
Mrs. Costick? Aye. Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
I think he went to sleep.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye. Sorry.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Next, we have adoption of board agreement on the focus of the work of the board and code of conduct. The proposed action is that the Board of Education adopts for 2023-2024 the Peoria Public School Board agreement on the focus of the work of the board and the code of conduct.
So moved.
moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you call roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
Next up, we have adoption of board policies. The proposed action that the policies of the immediate past board be the policies of the new board.
So moved. Second.
Madam Secretary, will you call roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, and finally, the establishment of time and place for regular meetings. The proposed action that the City of Peoria School Board of Education School District adopt the attached schedule for its regular meetings for the 2023-2024 school year. Unless otherwise posted in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act, all meetings will take place beginning at 6:30 p.m. at the DLC Boardroom at the District Administration Building at 3202 North Wisconsin Avenue in Peoria, Illinois. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
All right, and at this time, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Ready, set, go. So moved.